most departments in businesses have to prove some sort of value to the company to continue to get a budget. It's an emotion business. When we're dealing with customer experiences, it is about the emotion you have versus, and you can quantify that, obviously, but it is an emotional thing. It's an emotional connection to the brand, to the overall product, how you enjoyed that, how you got it delivered, and were there any problems.
I always say that people don't do CX for their health. So when we do work, we always try to tie it to acquisition, retention, and growth because those numbers are there. And if we can help people with that, then we become value. Tying yourself to something that's already there is so much easier. And emotion is so hard, Mark. The metrics around emotion and the correlation to repurchase are very low. So how do you take those net promoter scores and CSAT scores that have no correlation to repurchase and prove yourself with them, right? You have to tie your star to something else.
And in each channel, each industry, for instance, grocery store asks me every week, how likely am I to recommend them, right? I'm not, ever.
The other piece too is part of why the executive rooms across the world struggle with this is it is extremely complex to take a look at a customer journey from the very start to the very end, and then building off of what everyone's talking about to find where you can affix or attach to things that are already there, whether it's your sales and your revenue counts, your marketing counts, your operative counts, your tech counts, and then to start to really get people across the business to understand, wait a minute, CX and CS, if it's done extremely well, it's a team sport. So every one of you has a bit of authorship in this and you have ownership in it, right? So stop saying it's just the CX or the CS leader. It's not, it's everyone. Storytelling, the better you can tell a story, the simpler it is for people to understand where you want them following along, right? Thinking about that inside of your business is going to be one of the easiest ways that very quickly you start to grab that executive attention that is going to be completely required to get anything across the line in any business in the world.
Taking the umbrella of customer experience and just looking at the advocacy aspect of it. So those acts of advocacy that your customers are doing, if they're doing referrals or doing reference calls or speaking on events like this, and tying those back to influence revenue, showing what opportunities expanded, what opportunities had advocates in them that did acts of advocacy, what opportunities closed, which ones renewed, and measuring that way, I see as a huge trend. And that's where we're kind of guiding a lot of the customers that we work with on my end of those acts of advocacy are their golden ticket to influencing revenue.
And then there's strategic. How many times when someone calls an influencer, do they recommend you rather than someone else?
It doesn't really do much to help improve except to correct something that's wrong.
What makes ROI so much harder is that there is this length of time. It's not going to be, I did this today, pushed this lever, and all of a sudden I got this result over here at the end.
When you think about ROI, it really starts as a business case for asking for budget at the beginning. Every year you go through budgeting and you say, hey, I want to do this thing on this platform. It's going to measure every interaction. Well, how much is that?
Start with just your basic team assessment and your tech stack assessment now, and then show us what your actual ROI looks like on some of the existing resources that you have before we start unpacking all these other hypothetical or projected ROI sets around what CX and CS can do for you. Because a lot of times